In my last video, I shared how I felt like I was not doing enough. Even though I am a full-time stay-at-home parent, I am a full-time homemaker, I have a full-time job, and I am publishing my debut novel, something in my brain told me that because I wasn't doing it all, I was failing. And we all know this is a lie, but on those days when executive function is hitting really hard, there is nothing that I feel more than guilt that I can't keep up with my house. Today, I wanted to share with you the routine that I do on the days when executive dysfunction is especially high and I have a hard time getting into doing anything. If you are new here, I am Christina. I am the mom of 5. I am neurodivergent, and I didn't know this until the pandemic hit. I have had to relearn everything that I thought I knew about keeping house and have reframed cleaning around my neurodivergence so that it works for me. In this house, mess is morally neutral. While we all desire to have a tidy home, sometimes, well, most of the time, that's not the case. We live in a fairly small space for the size of our family, and we don't have a lot of storage, so we have to make do with what we have. The first place I always start when I am having a big bout of executive dysfunction is my living room. And yes, you will see that I pretty much always have a laundry pile to fold. This is something I am not very good at yet, and I'm getting there, but I am in the process of decluttering all of my kids' clothes, so all of their laundry came out of their rooms and is currently going through it. My rule for tidying up is that I am not allowed to leave the room I am cleaning until it is done. This prevents me from wandering around my house in circles, tidying up little spots here and there, and never actually finishing a task. With ADHD, it is very easy for me to get off task, so staying in the room is really important. I try to bring in a garbage bag and another bag or bin for toys that don't belong in here, and generally any cleaning tools that I need, so that I don't have to walk through the house and get them and get distracted. I start in the living room because it's usually the easiest place to clean up. Generally, it's toys and maybe a little bit of garbage because we don't have a garbage can in here, which is something I'm considering getting. But clothes and toys and then a good sweep or vacuum is all it really takes to tidy up in here. Since it's the easiest room of the house to clean, it then motivates me to get the other rooms done and just makes it a little easier to get past the executive dysfunction of seeing the entire house of messes instead of just focusing on one. On days when the mess seems a little bit too overwhelming, I will also break out a timer for 10 or 15 minutes or however long I feel able, and that also really helps. Alright, So I want to take a moment to talk about the sponsor of today's video, who is AuDHD. AuDHD is a fine jewelry company located in New York City and founded by women, which is important to me, but even more important is that they are a sustainable jewelry company, and they believe that luxury is for everyone. If you know me, you know that sustainability is one of the things I look for in the companies that I work with, and I was very happy to see that not only are they sustainable, but the majority of their pieces are fairly reasonably priced for being a luxury and fine jewelry brand. Now, I have been looking for some everyday pieces to just wear all of the time for quite a while, but it's really hard to find companies that use high quality materials that aren't going to turn green on your skin. And as an AuDHD girly, I have a lot of sensory issues around jewelry and clothing, so it's really hard to find jewelry that isn't constantly triggering my overstimulation by being against my skin. It's one of the reasons why my wedding ring is just a very simple gold band, and it's one of the reasons why I don't really wear a whole lot of jewelry anymore. These days I've really pared down, and I try to pay attention more to items that I can wear throughout the day and not be afraid that they will become ruined. And the necklace in particular, I love, and my husband even commented on it, which is unusual for him. He really loves this necklace and thought that it was just really beautiful, and I was just surprised that he commented because I don't normally get opinions from him on my jewelry. I have been wearing the necklace and the earrings pretty much non-stop since they arrived because I wanted to give it my real go and see how comfortable they were, how well they wore, if they turned green against my skin. So you will actually see in some future videos that I have these on because I've been filming and wearing these for the last couple of weeks. And I can say very confidently that number one, there is no wear and tear that shows on the jewelry, and they did not turn my skin green, which is really pleasant. And also, I just forget that I'm wearing them. They're so comfortable and delicate. I love how delicate the necklace is. I'm gonna gush about the necklace quite a lot. I think it's so pretty. So if you would like to try them for yourself and shop AuDHD's beautiful fine jewelry collections, you can go down to my description and click through the link and use With Love Christina for 20% off. Thank you so much to AuDHD for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into cleaning and gardening. Once I am done in the living room, I then move on to the dining room. And one of the things I do in the living room when I need to remove things is just to put everything on the dining room table. That way I'm not going too far, I'm not getting distracted or overwhelmed by seeing other messes that need to be tidied up, and I can still stay focused while having things out of the way. As you can see, I am also in the middle of a sewing project, and I don't really put away my ironing board until I am done sewing, because the ironing board acts as an extra surface to keep everything to do with sewing on, and therefore not cluttering up the rest of the room. I will always clear off the table before I have swept the floor, just so that any trash or crumbs can be knocked onto the floor and dealt with that way. I'm always a little embarrassed to just show what turns up when I sweep in this room, but I have to face it. We are a neurodivergent family, we live on a farm in the country, and the door behind me that is a white door is an outside door, so dirt gets tracked through here all the time. My husband and I play tag team with the sweeping, so I'm never really sure who has swept what when, and on this day it felt extra yucky, but I am working hard to take away the shame of tidying up so that I am more likely to do it. Contrary to what the internet thinks, shaming someone for how messy their house is doesn't do any good. Especially for someone who is neurodivergent, it can create a barrier which keeps us from doing it altogether. But nor do I really care to be praised for my abilities. It just is what it is. We get it done, it's neutral, and we move on. The weather has been extra gorgeous lately, and I thought I'd take a little break here to share my gardening update. As many of you know, I have been trying to cultivate a garden for the last few years, and I almost always start planting a little late. I probably should have planted the garden a few weeks ago, but my husband only just had time to build an extra garden box. We still don't have a fence, and we had to get dirt for it, so it just took a little bit of time. Since I am starting a little bit later than I should have, I tried to plant plants that will grow well in the later season. But of course, before I got to planting, I had to prep the dirt and the boxes. I would love to have a thriving big garden someday, but that's just not quite in the cards yet. So instead, I chaos garden, and every year I learn something new to help me succeed. This year I decided to add fertilizer, which I haven't done in the past, and I'm hoping that it helps. We also really need to get a riding lawnmower because we have a very large space to mow, probably at least an acre of grass and yard and garden, and my husband is extremely allergic to grass. I know this is probably not the right fertilizer, and it is meant to fill boxes and not really act as a fertilizer, but it was the only thing that the local store had, so.
Oh, you love worms? Good.
You like worms? Why? Because they help your garden?
Yeah.
So I also like ladybugs. I know you do also. And
Can you help them?
I like tea also. I like bumblebees. Because they help our garden. All these help gardens. First step in here.
No. Gotta make it nice and soft for the plants to grow.
Do bees like shake?
I don't know.
I have taken an approach to gardening that is whatever grows will grow. I am not someone who is super intense about gardening. I don't usually expect much of my efforts, but I enjoy the process and I figure I might as well try anyway. This year I planted peas and beets and tomato starts. I planted bell peppers and a lot of sunflowers, some squash, and I'm trying a watermelon start which I found at the store for $1. Whatever grows will grow, and whatever doesn't is okay. Coming back inside, I am going to start on my kitchen, and this is always the biggest hurdle for me when I'm dealing with executive dysfunction because it can get overwhelming very fast. I talked about this in my last video, but the dishes become really overwhelming if I am not on top of them all of the time. And as someone who struggles with executive dysfunction and demand avoidance, it can become a struggle to do them all the time, even though I don't mind the task once I've started. But with this routine, as soon as I have emptied out enough of the sink, I always go over to the baking counter to tidy it off so that it is usable for whatever may be happening over there. I talked about how my husband helps as well in our house because it's our house, not mine or his, so we both try to take care of it as we can. But he grew up in a household where he wasn't expected to help out from a young teen until we got married, so his homemaking skills are growing right alongside mine. I think that open communication is one of the most important things in our relationship, especially with tidying up.
There's a bag of
I think that open communication with your partner is really important in household task areas, and there are so many things that I just assumed he would know to do, but he didn't realize were bothersome until he was told. Thankfully, I am married to someone who takes in this kind of communication and puts it into action. As a side note, my sourdough starter has just begun to become very strong and bubbly, and I'm slowly building up my confidence towards making actual sourdough loaves, but I don't have a Dutch oven. So if you would like to let me know what your favorite method for making sourdough bread with no Dutch oven is, I would love to try it out until I find the perfect pink one that will also fit in my oven. Because it's a 1940s oven, it is smaller than a modern oven, and we've had a few baking sheets and other baking dishes that do not fit inside.
what?
Once I have cleared off the baking counter, I try to then focus on the other counter in organizing and stacking the dishes, in cleaning off the space which needs cleaning, in general just making sure as much counter space is clean as possible, especially on days like this when I knew that I wasn't going to get it all done. Something I think that can often be overlooked in homemaking spaces is that we're not aiming for perfection. We're aiming for functionality. Mental peace is also nice, but at the end of the day, if I have worked myself so hard that I'm so exhausted that I am upset or overstimulated, it's not really worth it to me. And this is something I think can be very exclusive to people who are neurodivergent. There becomes a time when it is more worth it for me to give myself a break than it is to do every single task that has to be done. I don't know if I have ever mentioned this, but I am probably also on the spectrum. It is something that I have been discovering over the last few years, and there are a lot of difficulties that happen to culminate around homemaking and there are a lot of difficulties I face with this and homemaking and keeping up with it all and exhaustion, and it can be a lot. But that's okay. I am learning and I am still able to live a wonderful life. I just have to adjust for my own needs. Learning to accommodate yourself is so important, whether you are neurodivergent or not, whether you are disabled or perhaps getting older and less mobile or have been injured. All of these things require adjustments so that life is not overwhelming, and my aim is always to slow down and find enjoyment even in the most mundane tasks. So the next morning, before I decided to finish up my tasks, I went out into the garden and planted as much as I possibly could in the leftover pots that I have. I had some bell pepper starts to plant, and then I wanted to put some herbs and other things in these other pots. So I cleaned them out with the help of my little one, and I planted dill and catnip and something else that I don't actually remember. I guess when it sprouts, if it sprouts, we'll find out. I also planted more squash because I really love summer squash and zucchini and delicata squash.
Okay. In the hole. Good job.
Now, I'm aware that squash will cross-contaminate, but at this point, I am again just planting whatever, and whatever grows will grow. Over the next couple of weeks, we will have to work on getting a fence up around the garden space, both to keep the little kids out and to keep the deer out, because I don't want all of my hard work to go to waste. As you can see, I had not finished everything the day before, so after I got my kids to school, I came into the kitchen to finish up the last remaining tasks. By the way, I know my cats get on the counter all of the time, but that is why we wipe down the counter and we use things like cutting boards and we wash our food before we prepare it on the counters. As hard as I have tried to train our cats not to be on top of the tables and the countertops, it's been impossible, and all I can do is remember to wipe everything down before we use it. I think the feeling I have been wanting to impart the most with this video is that it's really not about perfection. It's about finding the systems that work for you, so that your house is not running you, you are running your house. There is so much value in having a tidy and clean space, but there is also a lot of value and importance in taking care of yourself. Over the years, I have learned that I cannot always afford to sacrifice my own health, physically or mentally, just to have a perfectly clean house. Sometimes I have to settle for a home where the floors are clean and vacuumed, but there's still a pile of laundry to be folded by the end of the day. Where the countertops are clean, but there's still a sink with dishes in it. Where the laundry is folded, but perhaps it's sitting on a chair to be put away. As long as my home is functional and usable and full of happy little voices, I think we're doing okay. One of the things I am most thankful for is everyone here on this channel, because a lot of you have given me advice that has been really helpful. Something I rarely remembered to do before we made over the kitchen was to wipe down my cabinets, and it seems like such a simple task. Something I learned through my own comments was that I never used to wipe down my cabinets. It is just not something that I saw as needing to be done, not because I didn't think it needed to be done, but because I literally didn't think about it. Once we made over the kitchen, I have made it my habit to wipe down the cabinets as often as I can, whether that be weekly or daily or whenever I see the mess. But it is still something that I can be blind to until I remember all of my lovely commenters and the advice you all have given me and the community here that is helping me to be a better homemaker. For you, I am thankful. Remember that mess is morally neutral, and that even if all you have the energy for is 10 minutes, that is still better than nothing, and you are doing a good job, just as you are. That is it for this video. I hope that wherever you are feeling safe and loved, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Thank you.